we can go through some of these pictures if you like. This is a ballerina from the New York City Ballet that I photographed. She was actually dating my brother-in-law. I photographed a couple ballerinas, but he was working on some project with them, and turns out that he ended up dating her. The boxer is a sparring partner of a Brazilian boxer who was here in Los Angeles to get away from the media. He had a big prize fight in Paris, I believe, and he happened to be in Los Angeles, and this was his sparring partner. I just, a lot of these pictures I just photographed and accumulated all these pictures, and I put them on a big table at one point early on in the project and looked at them all and was like, oh my God, these two look great together. These two look great together. And and it's like once you realize how all these things became, it was just natural that they were diptychs. I mean, it wasn't like it was preconceived or anything. There's two athletes with their big round whatever they are. I was driving through Florida, up and down Florida on this one trip, and I saw a sign for drag racing, and I just pulled over and watched these drag racers. And I made the mistake of getting there a little bit early, and I'd approached some of these drivers before their heats, and every single one told me to fuck off. And I couldn't figure, man, these guys are just ornery down here in Orlando. And I couldn't figure out what it was, and then I realized that these guys are so psyched up for their race that they don't want to think about anything other than their race. So I realized that, so I just left. I said, this is not meant to be anyway. I can take only so much rejection, and I just left. But on the way out, there was a stock car track right nearby. So I went to the stock car track, which had a little later schedule, and didn't make the same mistake I made at the drag race track, which was, I waited till after the race to approach these guys, and I ended up photographing like 20 different drivers. And I liked this guy. I liked his mullet. He came in third place that night. And then the bowler on the right, we went up to northern Wisconsin, Hayward, Wisconsin, and just found out when league night was and just showed up and just winged it. And we ended up setting up in the banquet room, and we shot every single guy at league night that night. And that's how we work, and it was fun. This is a female bodybuilder on the left and a drag queen on the right. I don't know what else there is to say about those two. You can only just soak it in. I don't know what else what I can say. Lots of visual there to look at. This is one of the stupid pairings, like I mentioned. It's just a skinny guy with a giant boombox and a big guy with a tiny little Sony Walkman. This is before they had iPods. It was 2002. The funny thing is, we always shot Polaroids. In fact, I have a stockpile of 809 Polaroid, probably more than anybody on Earth. I have like 30 boxes of 809 Polaroids still, even though it's been discontinued. So I shot a Polaroid of this guy on the right, and sometimes I'll show it to the person after we're done shooting, and he goes, "Oh man, I look fat." This is Coney Island in New York, so he's a very New York guy. "Oh man, I look fat." I'm like, "No, you look good." He goes, "No, I mean fat, P-H-A-T," meaning he thought he looked good. These are the Hells Angels on the left, and some altar boys up in Boston on the right. The Hells Angels, we were my assistant Bob, who's here somewhere, probably hiding. We were going up to Napa to photograph some guys at a veterans hospital, which that portrait's in here somewhere. But as we got off the plane, I realized, the Hells Angels are here up in Oakland and San Francisco. I think their headquarters are Oakland. Let's just stop by. And so we did. It was early in the morning. It was like 10 in the morning or something, and we showed up at the Hells Angels headquarters and just knocked on the door, and nobody answered. I tried 3 or 4 times and just got nothing. Went across the street to there's a place called Flash's Motorcycle Shop or something right across the street, and it looked like there might, it's a motorcycle shop. It's Hells Angels. There's got to be some connection. So I spoke with Flash, who owns the shop, and he goes, "Oh, you're just too early. They're not up yet." So I waited a while, and eventually Marvin, the guy in the middle, came out. And I walk up to him, and I say, "Hey, I'm a photographer from LA, and I'm working on this book. I'd love to photograph you guys." "Fuck off!" I mean, and that didn't even do it justice. He wanted to tear my head off. And I'm like, wow, that's a hard way to break the ice. And eventually, I think we ended up buying him breakfast at the Mexican place on the corner, and he loosened up a little bit, had some food in his belly, and just by being patient, I waited and waited, and eventually he agreed to let me photograph him, and And that's how that worked out. So it was probably stupid, but sometimes photographers do stupid stuff to get great shots sometimes. James Noctway will agree with that, I'm sure. This is in Oregon, it's physician-assisted suicide is legal up there. And this is a woman who had brain cancer, and she was getting ready to die. I think she actually took the pills and passed away just like 3 weeks after this photograph. And the gentleman on the right is a Holocaust survivor. His entire family, I think his mother, father, 2 or 3 sisters, all his cousins, aunts, uncles were all murdered, and somehow he escaped on a train. So he was like the one member of his family that escaped. I forget which camp he was in, but he's a Holocaust survivor, and this is a woman who was trying to kill herself. I just thought that was interesting.